Okay, so we are here for Real Housewives of New Jersey. I think it is, I think it's episode 8, if I'm not mistaken. Um, yeah, episode, um, it is season, season 13, episode 7. And this is, okay, so this is going to be episode 8. And I know, oh my gosh. So, so there's a lot of drama going on with Escape, and Tamika did exactly like if you watch my previous video that I just dropped on March 27th saying that Tasha and her husband need to really pump the brakes because in 2.2 seconds they're gonna be you don't want Tamika to be dropping all of the receipts. And lo and freaking behold, that's exactly what took place. They dropped Tamika dropped all the receipts. I was wondering how she was going to be able to do that. Like she was going to put the full address or something. But you know what? Let me not get it deep into this because we need to move on to the topic at hand. Okay. I have actually one overall, what I thought really stands out
I'll get it tomorrow.
is this. Um, what I thought really stood out that is really, really fascinating is the fact that I think when we're watching this, we are literally watching a not a relationship implode, but I thought this episode was really about looking at how Teresa is trying to keep herself in control. And she's just to the point where it's like, you know what, her temperature, it continues to keep rising and she just couldn't take it anymore. And so I could understand that. And um really, and this is the thing that bothers me about this is because the people who really so far that has been pressing buttons with Teresa and Danielle, which is why I feel like if you watch this, you can completely see how Danielle and Teresa are kindred spirits. And um okay. So with that being said, you really the people who are keep pushing the buttons to me is Marge, Jackie, and Rachel. And then you have Melissa who keeps stirring things around. And and really this season it's Melissa who needs to go and report on who said who to what. And then it is Rachel who's then also kind of playing that role. And then they get surprised when people get angry. So it starts us off with Jackie and again, here we go. Jackie and Marge are talking about Bill and Jen, and Marge is like, ugh, they probably have to be drunk to deal with each other. I think I said that. I mean, I think they said that before. And then Jackie is like, I don't think they're any good. And then she goes to the Rachel's party, and then she tells um other folks, yeah, I don't think Bill and Jen are doing good with each other at all. And so you're continuously seeing her saying that everybody's business. Everybody, how about we talk about what are you doing with what's going on with you? Since you seem to be wanting to tell everybody's story to everybody else, tell us, what's your story? I mean, it seems like because you are not front and center this season, we don't get to see what, since you're just a friend of, you're a friend of by getting into everyone's business. It's annoying. So again, we're back to everybody talking about Danielle. Everyone's saying, oh, that the story's not seem to be adding up. Look, there are some brothers and sisters that naturally get along, which is beautiful. There are some brothers and sisters that naturally absolutely can't stand each other. And even into adulthood, they still can't stand each other. And they tolerate each other. And then it could be the littlest thing that is like, you know what? It's a wrap. And Marge makes a joke like, well, what if I go ahead and just go find more info behind about her and about her brother? I can go talk to her brother and see what's going on. Okay. I feel like oh gosh, we're back. The big issue is this. I'm gonna tell you what the problem is. Danielle feels like if I say what's happening with my brother and I, this is why we don't speak, then that should be the end of it. There should be no deep investigation. There is no longer conversation about what's going on. It is, I'm telling you, this is what it is. It is what it is. Stop digging. And then when she gets upset and she's like, you know what, I'm done with this and walks away, her and her husband, and she's like, hus, come, we're gone, deuces, bye. People are annoyed. This is what killed me. And I was just like, oh my God, throw an orange at her head. When Jackie's like, all we're doing is just asking questions. Really, is that all what you were doing? Is that really all that you were doing? You pressed for 2 days straight. You keep nagging, you keep poking the bear, and then she's like, you know what, deuces, I'm done. And then all of a sudden, you're like, oh, you're done? How can you be done? I don't understand. Come on. We're just asking questions. Okay, Jackie. And then we have again Melissa talking about her mom, and then the tears start falling. And then so now we're having a split screen about what the issue is. There is some overlap of the story. And honestly, at this point, I'm not sure what I am to believe, but I'm going to believe the overlap. So Joe begins to explain his side. They had an idea. And the thing that bothers me about, as he was telling the story, nobody paused him and said, wait, so you got upset because you asked him, oh, according to you, he insisted on putting forth buying the ovens for this pizza place. And you've put $0 up for any of this pizza place, but you want 50% ownership because it's just your idea. Mm-hmm. And what business? And what business book does that come out of? Run, tell me. Now, there's some parts of this I was like, okay, that's shady, where they changed the name of the pizza place. They got boxes. So it's more than one person who was involved in this pizza place. And I think that that is where the mess up. I think the initial mess up is this. Y'all should have had contracts before any money was put up to see who was going to be doing what, who would have ownership of what. That's what should have happened. And I think that, to be fair, I don't think that he would have been happy. What is his name? Joe would have been, I think that would have been a tiff if there would have been a thing where they were like, look, we need a contract before we engage. So I think that's a fair space. There would have been an issue with the let's do a contract first, sir. Okay. So I'll acknowledge that. And then on what is it? Teresa's side, she's like, okay, look, we gave $250,000 and then he wanted 50% and then we split 50% and Teresa and her husband, her fiance, did not want to give 50%. So Teresa calls her brother and is like, hey, what's going on? What's the big deal? What's the issue? Why would you want 50% when are you going to put some money up for it? And why is that offensive? Are you planning on you think that you don't have to put money up for it just because it's your idea? That seems like a strange kind of convo, right? Or is that just me? Anywho, it led to the fact that there's going to be bad blood because Joe thinks that they should get some that Joe thinks that this did not go well, clearly. Even though it's Joe's idea and he has no money, he thinks that he was done wrong. I think that there's truth is somewhere in the middle here. You don't get a bunch of, you don't get half from just an idea though, right? Like you have to put some money into this business. Part of me feels like this is a miscommunication. The other part of me feels like this is a woe is me. So we're at Rachel's house, and this is where the rest of the drama goes down. And Jackie is a busybody. And I love when Teresa gets to the point, it's like, look, Jackie, shut up. And you can, to me, you can consistently see how Teresa is progressively getting angrier and angrier and angrier. And so it's kind of strange how no one is making the decision to be like, you know what, let's turn down the temperature. Let's have fun at this thing. Let's have fun. Fun. Yeah. Danielle, like I said, gets annoyed. Then we have Danielle, Marge, and Rachel talking. This, and then eventually, and Melissa's over on the side talking about, well, Jen, aren't you the one who said that Marge has an arsenal? So that she's playing this role. Well, Danielle eventually apologizes to Marge about saying that Marge is like really not trying to hear her because she wants to truly be vindicated, like Marge is a good person. Like, anyway, Danielle and Rachel. Oh God. Danielle and Rachel. I'm Danielle, really, actually. Um, Danielle peeps how Rachel is, and Danielle peeps at how Rachel is, right? Danielle peeps like, okay, so if I say something to Rachel, she's gonna run and tell that. And because she's gonna run and tell that, Here's what I'm gonna do. We good. And so Rachel's like, I don't know if we're really good. And Danielle's like, no, 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 we good. I see who you are. That's what that means. You don't see me eye to eye when you say we're good. No, no, no. This is what I'm good means. Let me tell you what I'm good means. I see you. I see how you are. I see how you operate. I'm good. Thank you. But she knows to keep her with the arm distance, and that's what that means. Louis comes and make a decision to go talk to Melissa, holds her hand and walks her over and have a conversation because he is going to be like, I'm going to invite you. I'm inviting your mom to the wedding. Okay, whatever. So, so Teresa's like, this is some BS. Melissa needs therapy. So she comes over and she's going to talk she's going to sit down and he's like, why are you over here? I'm gonna let you know right now. I've said this before to you, Louis. I don't like how you talk to Teresa. And telling her to just get up and why you here and just kind of over and you need to go. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna need you to not. Don't talk to me this way. And when um eventually Louis well wait, eventually Joe comes over to sit and talks and sits there when Melissa and Louis is talking, and you allow Joe to sit, but you don't allow Teresa to sit. I don't understand this. Anywho, I forgot to mention about Jackie. Jackie's talking about Frank to Dolores, and Dolores is like, look, I don't give I'm gonna translate. I don't care. We are divorced. It is not my responsibility to care about how Frank feels about me being with another man. He's with another woman. Let it go. And I'm like, well, it's just so sad to see. Girl, Jackie, you're an attorney. I'm gonna need you to find a job. I'm gonna need you to whip your fillers that do not look good on you at all. And I know that you have an eating disorder, and it was nice to see that I think you were eating. I think she was eating. That's beautiful. But I'm gonna need you to take your little self and sit down somewhere. It's nice to stir up some mess, but you're doing too much on the stirring up for my taste. You get into everybody's business, and Dolores is like, look, let it go. And I was with that. Anyhow, Jackie, of course, is sitting there overhearing Teresa talk about things when it comes to Teresa talking to Jennifer about Melissa. Melissa's my best friend, Jennifer. Melissa's my best friend. And she was crying this morning. I can't hear her talk about this, about trying to justify not inviting Melissa's mother. I don't think that anybody has to justify not inviting anybody to their wedding. I think this is the dumbest argument all season. For 8 episodes, we were talking about who's invited and who's not invited to this wedding. It is like, are we going to the Queen of England? Like, what are we doing? I know it's the king now, but I'm just saying. Like, this is like, I mean, is this like a wedding of the year? Is like this the most prized thing to the point that we have to spend 8 episodes and now I guess 9 talking about who's getting an invite and who's not getting an invite? I mean, anyway, Louis tells Joe that, you know, I'm trying to be there. I'm marrying her in 31 days. I'm trying to be there for the kids. I'm wearing your father's pajamas. That is disgusting. I know you washed them and all, but these are not babies. These are like grown. I mean, I think the youngest a teenager. They don't need that kind of comfort. I mean, I miss my grandmother terribly, but the notion and a blanket. I have a blanket of hers. I think I have a sweater of hers. The notion that I need that somebody needs to be walking around in her gowns to bring me comfort. Get out my face, Louis. Get out my face. Louis is talking to Melissa. Teresa's absolutely annoyed for sure. Um, okay. Now we get to the whole Teresa eventually is talking to Melissa and Joe. Would you, she's like, hey, if this was this big of a deal, why do I have to hear it from everybody else about what the big deal is? Come and talk to me. Come and talk to me. I really want to. Okay. Anyway, and he's like, really? I mean, I think that was a bit much, and I think that was stupid too. Um, Rachel's like, before Teresa goes and talks to them, calm down. No, Rachel. This is what you're not going to do. Rachel and Marge, and then eventually Marge comes and tries to talk to Teresa. What y'all not going to do is drum up the drama, talk about each, talk about the Melissa and Joe thing and Teresa, and drum up and go to both sides and try to play both sides, and then come and be like, don't get upset. Don't get upset. No, you can't start. You can't mix the drama together. You can see Teresa elevating and elevating and elevating, and then be like, you're upset. What is the problem? Girl, you can't do this. So Louis is annoyed for sure. And he's just like, I gotta go. The thing I don't like about, again, he talks to Teresa sideways once again, saying, can you be quiet? You need to listen. You're not listening to her. This is the problem with both of y'all. Y'all don't both listen. And it's not what you're saying, and I agree somewhat with what you're saying. It is how you're speaking to her. I don't like it. I just really wish that she would have been with someone who doesn't publicly on camera speak to her like she's a child. And he may be the greatest guy behind closed doors, but I feel like you should be the greatest guy also in front of the camera too. Like, do you really have to speak this way to her? I don't get it. And Joe does explain why he's angry, and I'm just like, um, I'm tired of the Teresa saying that you could have been there for me as a sister-in-law. Um, because to be fair, they both weren't really there for each other. And then to say that, oh, Melissa, and then Marge, she really was defending her. I think she was trying last season, she tried her best to not say anything. And so when people said something about him, she was just like, look, I don't want to get in it. What Teresa would have wanted is to be like, nah, don't say nothing. Like, if you're going to be around me, I'm gonna need you not to say anything about my sister-in-law, and future brother-in-law. That's what she wanted. And I think that is fair. But I think that Melissa tried her best to try to be as impartial and also keep her spot on the show. I also want to explain that Teresa is not that she was demands loyal. I think that Teresa does demand a lot of loyalty, but I also think that um I think that all of them are full of it. I really do. And I think that all of them are full of ish. And I think that um I don't I mean Joe and Melissa are more dishonest than Teresa. I don't think that Teresa is being as forthright as she could. And so because you have, so this is really between the two of them, between the two sides, it is literally a race to the one who's not, which one is not being as honest as the other. And that's the problem that I think you can have with the show. So let me pause, and I'm kind of done with analyzing episode 8, because I feel like as we're proceeding forward with this show, next season, I don't want to see one of these people back. It either has to be Teresa has to go, which I don't think that's the possible. Melissa and Joe have to go. And maybe they can go onto a spin-off show, onto something else. They cannot stay on this show because the whole season is now going to always be Teresa versus Melissa and Joe. And it's just, there's no possibility to have any other storyline, any other anything to take precedent, because you're so focused on Teresa versus Joe. And it is the most frustrating thing to watch, because this is not getting better. And in fact, actually, it's getting worse. There is no better coming from this show. I mean, it is just a drowning amount of annoyance. I am annoyed because I don't think that Melissa and Joe is being accurate at all. And it's clear they're not being accurate because there's a lot of things that are being said that is really going against, and there's evidence that shows against what they're actually saying. And I think that Teresa doesn't always tell the entire truth because she wants to make herself look even better. And honestly, a lot of the times the truth actually doesn't look bad on her side at all. And so this is Teresa's show. And Melissa and Joe has to go. And they're not, and I say this almost every other episode. I am sick of Teresa blaming Melissa for everything now. Joey, her brother, is fully an adult. And he is absolutely equally responsible for the breakdown. I think all three of you are responsible for this breakdown of y'all's relationship. I do think, though, that it's more on Joe's fault than Teresa's fault. I think that Melissa is just sprinkled in. I think she has some culpability, but the majority of it is Joe. I do think that Teresa has some culpability, and I do think that Melissa has some culpability. Joe, the thing that I have a problem with Joey, and the reason why I give him more responsibility than anybody else, is because for season after season, he has fundamentally been saying things that are woefully inaccurate. And when people come up and show receipts and lies, like I think was it a couple seasons ago, they said that he was not paying people, and he was upset. Oh, it was Jennifer who said it. And he was upset that people weren't, it was last season, that he wasn't paying people. Well, there's a lawsuit. Jennifer was right. The people that she was talking about, they're suing him right now. Then Then it was a couple of seasons when the parents they lost their house. I think it was their house, right? That was due to Joe doing it. You've had him going around saying how much he was there for the kids, Teresa's kids. He wasn't, right? So I think it's a compilation of a lot of things that has led to where we we can fully document that Joe's not been honest. And so and then Teresa, like I said, Teresa has some culpability for sure. And then Melissa. So I just do not like the narrative that Teresa blames Melissa for not being a good woman and bringing them together. I think you're putting too much on Melissa. Or are you saying that that Joey is that weak and can be easily manipulated by his wife? I guess as you're saying that part, but I don't know. Whatever the case is, they need to be off the shelf for next season. But that being said, see you next week.